And the question is, if someone has a Buddha statue in their house, does it have any detrimental or negative spiritual aspect?
I'm going to let you answer that first. I got a view on this, but I want to hear what you have to
You
say.
do?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I would probably just ask questions, but where would you put on this?
I think I would go back to everything that Paul says about this topic. We know that idols are nothing, but we also know that people take them seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it in your house? First of all,
There you go.
my guess is it might be in your house because you used to not be a Christian. Now, if that's the case, I would say I would not want that in my house, because that is a reminder of your spiritual situation before Christ and what you trusted in before Christ. And you might be tempted to go back to it also.
Right.
Back to the idol, or tempted to, I don't even worship it in some way. I'm not even sure why someone would have
Right.
a Buddha statue. Some people just have it as artwork.
Yeah.
And maybe it means nothing. If that's the case, I would say for you, it's not. It won't have a detrimental effect, but you bring someone in your house, and now they're assuming that you put spiritual value into this
Right. No,
statue.
that's a great point. And I think this kind of has got some similarities to what we just talked about with the martial arts. So the question you asked the question I would ask, why do you have this? And if I walked in and I saw that really it's just another, it's really an artistic thing. You've got decorations in your house that or maybe it's just some trinket you brought back from a trip. But then again, the other issue becomes, well, if you got people who come into your house, are you going to make that clear for every visitor that ever comes in your house? Hey, by the way, before we start today, I just want you to know that little Buddha over there has nothing to do with how I feel about the world or how I interpret reality. It's just a trinket I brought back from India. Well, okay, I doubt you're going to do that. So I just don't know what value this has. Now, more than likely, if you hold it, either you've come from this and you hold on to it as a relic, or you've come from Christianity and you hold on to it as a symbol of your pluralism or whatever it is you believe. And maybe you've got I often will see this not just by itself, but surrounded by other kind of more new agey kind of pluralistic views of spirituality. So I think the big question is, why do you have that? And if I always say to my own kids, if I have to ask that question, why do you have that? There's probably a good reason not to have it at all, because again, you're having something that really causes us to say, why would you have that? If you had a dead stuffed dog in your house, right, that was like roadkill that you just decided to bring into your house, we'd be asking, why do you have that in here? So again, we only ask that question of things we think are kind of sketchy to begin with. So why would you have it? Yes, I went to a roadkill from the Buddha. Yeah, I don't know why, but you get the point. I think I'm trying. If you have to ask the question at all, you probably are in an area that if it needs that much clarification, then maybe it needs clarification in your own mind too. And if that's the case, just don't have it.
So let me turn the question around again just a little bit, just in case what they're asking is does it in itself have any sort of negative spiritual power?
No,
I guess.
I do not believe it's possessed, or it's a symbol of something that's not true. Do I think it's demonic? Like this is a demon is residing in the Buddha? I don't think that's the case. I think it's just a symbol of a worldview that is not true. And if that's the case, it's no more empowered or detrimental than a rock that would be sitting on your mantle. But the question is, are you going to look? If you had a mindset, you could be disturbed by the presence of the rock if you attribute to it power it doesn't have. So I think the question here is, are you attributing to this thing power it doesn't have? And if that's the case, then you kind of examine your own. Just get rid of it. I mean, if there's any chance you might attribute, if there's any chance you could fall tomorrow and then look over and see the Buddha and wonder if there's some connection between either fortune or misfortune and the presence of the Buddha, get rid of it.
So if someone has it in their house and you go over to their house.
Yes, I'm going to take it and throw it in the fireplace. Just going to say, what do you do with this silly thing? No, I think what you...
That's a great opportunity to bring up a conversation.
I think it is. Ask the question. Exactly. I would say, hey, that's interesting. Why do you have it?
Yeah, and it's not the statue that has a detrimental effect on your friend. Yes. It's their ideas that's having
related to the statue. Yeah, exactly right. So I would just ask the question. And I think you're right. It would be a great... And again, here we are on Greg's show, and this is exactly where tactics are so effective. Why do you have it? And then, well, what do you think it symbolizes? It's the what, the why, and have you considered this alternative? Those three questions are really where this would start. Yeah. You get a chance to say, what is that?
Yeah, but I wouldn't worry about trying to get it out of my friend's house. I would just
No.
use it. I would just be worried about my friend's views and
Yes.
try and help her to see what
No,
the truth
absolutely.
is.
Yeah, I think what I try to be in the end, I'll just, if everyone who's listening to this come from different spiritual backgrounds. For me, because I was such an aggressive non-believer until I was 35, and then saw that eventually even a guy like me can accept this as true, can actually investigate it. I'm less impatient with my friends and even my own kids. Their journey, it took me 35 years to get to a point where God could really, where God shook me up. And that may happen for your friends too. So I'm less dogmatic about these things. I got to fix everything now. I'm a little more patient, I think, because of that. Thanks so much for watching our video. If it was helpful and useful to you, I'd really appreciate it if you would follow us, subscribe to our channel at the bottom link here in the video, and tell your friends. And please follow us on social media.